if what happens. But first I gotta switch the power here on those. See if this radio works. Can you hear me from here?
Yeah, I can hear you fine from there.
Okay, I'll go down to the bottom and we'll see if they still work. Can you hear me?
Yep, coming through fine.
Okay, switch it to forward and then try pressing and holding that start button.
Okay, I'm holding it. Is it doing anything?
Well, I'm watching the outer towers and I think they're moving. Give me one sec, keep holding that for a minute or a little bit longer here. Well, I wasn't able to figure out why that first tower don't want to move. We're thinking around with it and I don't know enough about pivots to know what to troubleshoot, so probably just gonna have to call the pivot guys and pay them to come out here and figure out what the heck is wrong with it. Well, like I said before, wasn't able to figure out why the heck that one tower isn't wanting to move. I mean, I kind of know what caused it. I thought I was moving, I meant to move that little one, but then in my mind I was like, oh, I got to move the big one. So I started trying to move the big one the other day, and I was actually moving the little one and moved it in the wrong direction. So it went up against the stop and it kind of dug itself in just a little bit and bent something a little bit. But when we were trying to move it, like that motor wasn't even trying to do anything. So I'll have to talk to Mike, who owns all this, and see if he can think of anything. Otherwise we'll probably just have the service guys that he normally has come out and work on it. These pivots, come and see. They should be able to figure it out, I'm sure, no problem. But in the meantime, this pivot I had, it was running a few days ago, and then we got some rain, so I had come out here and shut it off because we had like an inch of rain here. So I'm just starting it back up and gonna continue it on through the beans and probably into the corn and water the corn too. So we'll let him go talk to the pivot guy, see if they can come out here and fix it, and then I'm gonna run over and check and see that other pivot I got that I pump out of the pond. We'll see how much water's in that pond, hopefully more than I think there will be, and check and see if we need to water that too. All right, so I'm back over here again after Dad and I went and got some lunch. He had to go run to get something for their pump, a seal for something, and I decided to come back over here after talking to Mike, who owns this. He said to try a couple different things, so I'm gonna try those. Apparently there's a little reset button up on something that I didn't know about, so that's a good indication of my lack of knowledge on some of this stuff, but I'm learning. So I think Dad, he called, he got his seal packing stuff, and he's gonna come back by here and maybe help me do a couple little things. Kind of need two people here because since the pivot is all the way up over yonder, up over that rise and down, and the panel's here, and so you got to press and hold that button on the panel there And so while you're over there, I mean, there's ways to jury rig it, but I'd rather have someone up here that can let off that button right away if I need them to. So I'm gonna go try seeing about where that reset button is while Dad's on his way over here, and maybe we'll see if we can figure this out, hopefully. Alrighty, we're back down here again. This is the tower that doesn't want to move. All those out there will move, and this one...
Are you down there or what?
Yeah, just give me a second here. There's apparently there's some kind of a reset switch that he said is up on top, so I'm gonna see if I can find that and try pushing that once to see if that solves everything.
Okay.
So apparently Dad got here. Let's crawl up here first and see if I can find this reset switch that he's talking about. Well, this is what we got. Is that my reset switch there? Let's see what happens. Hopefully I don't get electrocuted. Sticking this back on so I don't get electrocuted. Flip that back on. Maybe. Okay, let's try flipping that power switch back on, and then I switched it to this pivot, so you should just have to switch it to reverse, and then try pressing and holding that start button again.
Okay.
Oh! Alright, hit, let it go. Or press, yeah, there we go. Well, that fixed it, but hang on, I'll be back up there in a sec. Well, that's good, but sorry for the camera going everywhere, but it's kind of hard to climb down this safely and aim a camera where I need to be. Problem I got now, this was moving, so we're good, but as you can see, this tire should be like this, not like this, and it's hitting there. So I think and hope if I can get this bolt knocked loose, maybe I can twist this back. We'll go pick up the old man and bring him down here and see if we can get that done. Alrighty, so got the little one, the short pivot fixed with a little help from Dad. Having an extra set of hands there is always helpful. So basically figured out on top of each tower there, it's hard to see on this little screen on the back, there's a plastic cover up on top there where some of your electrics and stuff are housed for the electric motors, and there's a little reset button up there, some kind of a little breaker system that when I was moving that against the stop, I don't know how it functions exactly, but it tripped it, so that's why all the other towers were moving, but that except for that one. So I cut the power because obviously there's a lot of voltage going through there. You don't want to get electrocuted and die. We cut the power, and then I took that hood off and pressed the little reset button, and then it started moving fine, so that was good. And then all we had to do was, there's that big bolt that was through there, loosened that up. That took some doing. It was rusted pretty good and tight, and then got a bar in there and wedged it back to where it was straight, and it's all good. So that same tire though that was twisted there last year, that pivot was down up on the north side there, pointing off to the east at the other stop point. And when Dad was planting along there, he clipped it a little bit with the very end of the planter, and so that had bent it that time a little bit and gouged the tire, so I'd put a new tire on there and stuff, and so that spot's gotten hit a couple times. But anyway, that's all good and everything. And so I started the big pivot back up here. I'll run it through the beans and on into the corn all the way around, and then once it gets all the way around over yonder, I'll switch over and double check that the little pivot's moving good and everything, and we'll run that one. So Dad ran back to get a couple things, and he's gonna go fix that seal on their pump on their field, and I'm gonna run over to the wonderful Brinkmeyer pivot, and well, it's the guy who owns it, so that's what I call it, Brinkmeyer pivot, and see if that pond's got enough water in it to run, because I'm sure both the beans and corn there could use some more. But with that, just that single well, crappy well running, I don't know if there'll be enough water in that pond to run, so we'll see. Alrighty, so not nearly as much water in there as I'd like there to be, but we're working with what we got right now. Oh, some frogs or something. A lot of algae in there. Normally, I wish it would be up above that pond out there, but with just that one crappy well running, we're trying to make her work. So I might give the corn a quick shot of water. So first though, you can see that algae and crap in there. That river screen does help, but sometimes it ain't too bad right now. If it gets thick enough, it gets jammed in there and between the river screen and that brace kind of right there, and just gunk stuff up. You can see some stuck on there. That's what we got this guy for. Fun. A little thicker on the other side over there, I think. We'll try getting out there and getting some of that without falling in. So to do this and not whack the camera with this long pole, that wouldn't make for a good day. Having to wade through this crap to find the camera. Yeah, we'll call that good enough. Alrighty. So, the way this one works, instead of, you know, we just have on the other pump over there, we got our motor and then the wells, you know, about there. The shaft just comes off and goes right to the well. Well goes down in the ground. Well, here, since we're pumping out of the pond, we got to suck it up from the pond through this pipe to the actual pump, that guy, that yellow thing, and then from there on over and down and over to the pivot. So what you have to do is, you might have heard me say before multiple times and never explain it, but I got to prime it. So what that means is I got to get the water, I got to get this pipe coming up to the pump all filled up with water, and then I engage the pump and it takes off, and then everything goes beautifully. So the way you do that is, when you got a motor, there's a vacuum pull on the motor. So like your air intake, where your air is going into the motor, you tap into that, and then with, I think that's right there, if you can see, and then that comes down to this guy, which is a Murphy, or no, I don't remember, but we got this pipe on here, or this hose on there then, and that continues on up and over to our pump. And where it continues on out, there's a flapper here, so that sits closed, so you aren't sucking air from over here. We just want to suck the air out of this coming from the pond. What this guy does is it's sucking air, and then once this gets all filled with water, the water will then come in and it'll hit, there's a float in here, it's hard to see, I think I need to replace this thing, but this float then, once the water comes in, hits that and pushes it up and cuts off where the air is being sucked, so then you won't suck any water into the motor. That will be bad. But what I need to do first is, there's a pressure release thingamabobber. This guy, I don't even know if Mike really knows why he has it on there. I asked him and he goes, I don't know, somebody just told me to put it on there. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, that thing, I was having problems with this motor and pump. Once I'd get it, the pipe coming from the pond primed, and I would engage the motor into the pump to start it, I'd lose the prime and I wouldn't have full water pressure. It wasn't working. I started messing around, and on that pressure release valve there's a plug that goes in right here, and I took that out, started it up, primed it. Once I got primed, engaged it, water shot out, stuck the plug back in, and it took off and worked like a charm. It's worked beautifully like that the last 3 times I've started this. So that's the way I've been doing it, and I think we got a better way here. Instead of, where's my plug, having to try to shove this plug back in that hole when water's shooting out, it makes for a nice, wonderful mess. I'm gonna stick this valve in there so I can just open it, and then once the water comes shooting out, instead of fighting the water to get that plug back in there, I can just shut the valve, in theory. All right, it's gonna get loud. I don't know why I'm talking that loud already. It's gonna get loud! I just remembered, I gotta turn the propane on. Alrighty, let's try this again, round 2. It's gonna get loud! This magnet's strong. We'll open this, which goes over to the pump, and then open this guy so we start getting suction. Usually I can see bubbles in there. I'm not, oh, there we go. I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of cloudy and stuff, but it's sucking. So that air press, that suction on there is pulling all the air out of here, and it'll start sucking the water in down there. Basically, I just got to sit here and wait for this to pop up. That means my whole line coming up here is all full of water. At that point, I'll close this and then engage the motor, engage the PTO. Oh, it went. Speed that up. That's my valve I need to close. Hey, it worked pretty good. We'll speed this up some more. Now the river screen down there, as you can see, maybe it turns. That helps keep it clean. The other thing we do is there's a return line of water that I'll open up a little later here once I get all the pressure built up, and it sprays out against that screen to help keep it clean as well. I need to get a tool. I got something there's some water leaking, it's supposed to be, but it's leaking a little too much. So that in there, it's supposed to have some water dripping, but that's a freckle more, I think, than we want. Now, if you can see it out there, pressure's still building. It sounded like the motor just took off. Yep, we're good on the pressure now. It usually runs about 60. So now, if I open this guy, if you look out there, that's just turning. I did another walk around. I usually double and triple check everything, the oil level and everything, RPM before I take off. I think we're good though. We'll take off and head back. There's a piece I need to fix off of the other pivot that I took off of it, so the short one. So we'll do that here and call it a day, I think. So I didn't get that piece of angle iron straightened out. We were all out of acetylene, I said that right, for our torch. I'm going brain dead right now. So couldn't heat it up to try to bend it back. So I'll have to get some more of that acetylene probably Monday, so it'll be fine. That's been broken on there for a while and just hanging by one bolt anyway, so just thought I'd try to fix it for Mike and get it back up there, but we'll get that done another day. And so that's about it. I think maybe later tonight I'll run back over and check that pivot at that Brinkmeyer farm, the one with the pond. He might get around to where he stops tonight yet, so I don't know, we'll see. But we'll call that a day.